Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver, Iowa State, 6'1" and 7/8, 203 pounds, 9 3/8 inch hands. He ran the 40 in 4.53 seconds. He had a 1.55 split, 20-yard shuttle in 4.35, 3 cones, 6.91, broad jump, 116 inches, 36-inch vertical. Last year at Iowa State in 12 games, he had 107 receptions, 1,171 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
I thought, when I saw the 3 cone, it totally matched the tape. This is a guy who sinks his hips really well for his size.
For a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came away the most impressed with that. I was like, wow, this guy really gets, he can sink his hips really well. And he's a big dude. I thought his routes were okay. I thought he had good size. His contested catchability was nice. He has more career receptions in his class than anybody else, with 254. Doesn't do anything great, but he's really solid. He's probably one of those bigger possession receiver. Some drops are a little. See, it's weird because I saw conflicting reports here. Some drops, he had 6 in 2022 and 13 in the last 3 years. But then there's a PFF stat that says he only has a 4.9% drop rate on career 358 targets. I thought he rounded his routes a little bit. Doesn't do a whole lot with the ball in his hands. It's not overly explosive. Again, Rich Rebar had a good stat in here. He had a career 11.5 yards per catch, are the lowest of the class, and only 5.9% of his catches went for touchdowns, courtesy of Rich Rebar, Sharper Analysis. So his 11.5 yards per catch are the lowest of the entire class. So that's somewhat of a concern, but I like his upside there, but again, he comes up one of those Alshon Jeffries, No,
this is another guy that I think is
This is a good prospect.
I think
2 years.
we were talking about the last guy as a 5th or 6th round draft pick. This guy is somebody I could see drafting in the 3rd or 4th round. There's that much I think of a difference in skill set. I think he's really good at not losing concentration in a crowd. He makes really good catches with guys closing in on him. I think he does a good job of extending, and he can make really difficult catches over his shoulder, tracking the ball and not losing concentration there. I mean, that is unique to this class. He
had 2 catches where I audibly went, "Oh wow!"
Yeah, right.
I don't do that very often. I literally had 2 of them where I was like, "Oh wow!"
Turning opposite shoulder over.
Audibly said, "Oh wow!"
I literally did.
So there's some tools to work with there. I think for his size, he moves really well and has got some nice kind of crisp movement skills to work with and kind of develop as a route runner.
It's there. He needs to clean up his routes.
Yeah.
But he has the hips to do it, though.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
That's why I was kind of shocked. He rounds his routes so much. It's dude, you can move better than that.
I know that he has to clean some of that stuff up, but I think he's got the skills, and that's kind of why I was tiptoeing and wording it the way I did.
I wish my name was Xavier.
And
if we had a boy, that's what we were naming him.
He's not a speed demon, right?
Call him X.
Call him X. Yeah, and they do call him X, right?
Professor Xavier.
That's a good name.
X gonna give it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's your
man.
favorite all-time rapper, right?
He is my favorite all time.
Okay.
He's
Love
good.
him, X.
Enough game speed, though, for me. Not a speed demon.
He's not gonna win that way.
No. I like him. I don't know. This is a guy that I could see developing into a wide receiver 2 for a team. You know what I mean? He's not good enough to be the first wide receiver. The
That's
top dog.
to be fair, that's almost this entire class falls in that
Yes.
A lot of them fall into the 3.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
3 or 4 is a lot of them.
Well, most of them, but I'm saying most of this class, their ceiling's a wide receiver too.
So to get to a guy that I feel good about, and he has good size and good movement skills to be a solid wide receiver too, not like a guy you're always trying to replace on an NFL team as a wide receiver.
A little older too, 23.
He is he'll be 23 in June. He's 22 right now. I feel good about this prospect. I like him. I wasn't expecting much because we've kind of said in the past the way these things kind of, the way that they're structured is the first guys are usually the better ones and they kind of taper off towards the end. To get a guy as our second to last guy on a list that I liked was kind of a pleasant surprise. How about that?
In Field of Weeds, he was a nice flower.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you both touched on this, but I want to emphasize it again. We've seen a couple guys that are bigger in this class. A lot of small guys, but Cedric Tillman, Quentin Johnston, A.T. Perry, like those guys that are bigger size-wise, he moves smoother and more effortlessly than those guys move. He might not be as fast, obviously, as Johnson is, but you know, a lot of those guys, when you get to that size, you're pretty stiff. He's not. And that's the thing that really encourages me about the next level. When you can get a guy that's 6'2" that can move the way that he can, there's good things to be had at the next level. And his ball skills are good enough to where he's not elite in that area, but it's not a deficiency in any way, shape, or form. And he's got the size to be able to do some of those contested catch things. Like, there is a team that's going to be very happy with this guy, and I could see him being a wide receiver 3 for fantasy football for a very long time in the right situation. So he's a guy that I will probably overdraft. Like, I'll probably take him a half round higher than where he's going.
And in this draft, especially if you're looking for a guy, like I said, 3rd to 4th round. So I might be talking about him at the back half of the 3rd round. Are you talking maybe a half round even before that, or is that kind of the same range?
Depends on where he's going, but like right now in a super flex draft, I would be very comfortable taking him in the beginning of the 3rd round.
Okay.
Oh yeah, not me. I'd want to take him probably closer to the back end of the 3rd, high 4th, probably right there. I mean, I just worry, like, is he one of those guys going to be like, like a Donovan Peoples-Jones, like a guy you can't cut, you don't really want to start, but you can start him and hope for the
But if
good
you
end.
drafted Donovan Peoples-Jones with your 3rd round pick, you're happy with that. You know what I mean?
You are, but
because that's a much better hit than what you typically get out of a 3rd.
You're right, and there was some good spikes of trade value there. A good fill in, but I mean, we're trying to win Dynasty Fantasy Football championships, so that's a difference. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking bad. And I don't, because out of all the guys we're talking about today, like he's in that, like, for me, like he mentioned when I was like, I probably feel like you feel about Tillman is probably I feel about Xavier Hutchinson. Like, he's in that 3rd bubble with the potential to get into that 2nd bubble. Because I do like a lot of things he does. And my last note was, like, he doesn't do anything great, but he's very solid. Like, he's a very solid receiver. Like, I could see the path of him being like but I see him being like if on my roster, like my wide receiver 6.
No, I get that. And
on a good team, if I have a good Dynasty roster, if I have like a doo-doo roster, like, and I'm just like, I'm stuck in the middle, like, he's my wide receiver 4. And that's where I don't want to be. But the upside's there to grow. Like, I think his ceiling's like a wide receiver 3.